Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of I Feel Emotional and I Don't Know Why. Um, my videos have really slowed because I've had a lot going on in terms of wound care and trying to kind of just get myself through this process. But yesterday was 12 weeks, 3 months since my surgery. And I was just a moody bitch all day. um, I I just was really tired. I felt really exhausted. I did have a big sort of day the day before, but I was really moody and I was really in my head, and I think a lot of it had to do with that milestone. For me, I had really hoped that by 3 months I would be really on the other side, right? Um, Feeling really good, you know, happy with the results and knowing that, phase two was going to be pretty light, but kind of aesthetic cleanup and not what it's going to be now. Right. And so I think I was just really frustrated and obviously a little emotional, had a few crying spats, but that's kind of where we are. So let's talk about what 3 months looks like, right? So, still treating my breasts. Oh, sorry, hitting the microphone. We're trying something new here. Um, so I'm still treating my breasts. The good news is that the tissue, since the debridement, the tissue went from, you know, looking awful because of the necrosis on the skin to then having all of that tissue removed and looking really fucking ugly, because it was all this open wound-ish situation to now it like you can see the tissue healing and you can see those edges coming in closer. So you can see the gaps starting to fill in, which is great. um, my nipple that I lost on the left, that hole is starting to fill in. Now it'll never be a nipple like it was before, at least not to my knowledge. I'll have to do reconstruction or something. But it is filling in and it is filling in faster than I thought that it would. I don't know what I expected because I've never lost a nipple, but given the other holes in my body, I didn't expect it to fill in that quickly, and it is. So I think that's really great. The rest of my breast tissue is coming along, so that makes me really happy. That being said, here we are 12 weeks out, and from day one, I have been dealing with wound issues, right? So, and I think that's also something that as of late has really been a challenge for me. I really tried to be prepared for this surgery in so many ways, and I think I expected to be a slow healer and I expected there to be some issues, or I anticipated some issues, but along my incision lines, right? Like, so the hole in my stomach, I didn't expect a hole, but I had expected maybe some challenges there along with my incision because that's what happened when I broke my leg and had surgery. So I think the thing that really threw me though was that I never really expected the necrosis on my breasts to happen, right? I had read about it, from other women and what have you, but I don't know. It just was not something that was on my bingo card. I did not anticipate that happening to me. So I think part of my mental struggle with all of this has been I really didn't expect this. I kind of expected to get through the surgery and then, you know, not really have a lot of complications or, again, kind of along the incision line. And then, phase two would be sort of this, kind of light and fluffier surgery. And now that is probably not the case for me. Like my second surgery will be definitely more reconstruction and how to fix this to make it look aesthetically nice, right? So it's more than just symmetry and fat grafting. So anyway, so and still processing, losing a nipple. Like I did skin sparing, nipple sparing because that was an option for me, and I wanted to keep my nipples, and lo and behold, now I've lost one, right? So that hasn't been super fun for me. I don't know what that's going to look like on the other side. I feel a little embarrassed about what this looks like right now, and so that's just hard. It's just hard. And I trust my surgeon. I've said this in other videos. I know that when I get to the end of this, or I'm really hoping that when I get to the end of this, I'm going to like everything. Like, that's always been my gut feeling. This just took a turn down a road that I wasn't anticipating. So that kind of sucks, you know? So I'm trying to reconcile with that. And then also, excuse me. And then also just the duration of this, right? It's been 3 months since I had my surgery. And for 3 months, every day, I've been dealing with wound care. And it just takes a toll, right? Because not only did you go through surgery of your choosing, by your choice, right? Which I don't regret. Don't get me wrong. I would do it again in a heartbeat, but you do this surgery and you make this choice, and then you have a situation that didn't turn out the way you planned. And I don't know what the end game looks like. I don't know how this is all going to turn out. I just have to trust. And so there's also a level of patience and surrender here that I've had to learn. Patience is not my strong suit, I'll tell you that. And it's something that I've really had to learn and just let go of control and fast tracking and just wanting everything to be done now. And that's and that's really hard, especially when you're dealing with wounds and scars that are very hard to look at. So there's that. Um, the hole in my stomach, along my abdominal line, is actually finally closing up, you guys. So before, it was like this, 2 inch opening, and about a half inch wide, I guess, but about a quarter inch deep. I mean, like, you could stick the whole tip of your finger in the wound, which has been disgusting. So, but we wanted for that to close from the inside out, right? So that's why we started packing with collagen and doing all of these things. Well, now, all of the slough has been out, and new tissue is being created. And so it's only about half as deep as what it was previously, right? So all of that tissue is coming forward. So that's really great. I think I've got probably about, I don't know, based on the way it's been healing, I would say maybe another month to go before it's fully closed, but we're finally getting there. So that's super awesome. Um, Not super awesome is along that same line where I had been stitched, right? So remember, I was stitched on two sides. The other side has had now two pinholes open. So as of this morning, I'm stuffing those with collagen. So I'm like, please, body, just no more holes, right? So we're packing that with collagen now as well. And hopefully, because those are so small, they will close up pretty quickly. But that is all going in the right direction, which is really, really great. So from a wound care perspective, being at 12 weeks, I finally, over the last few weeks, I've felt really good that, like, we're still on the slow train, but like, we're making enough progress now where, like, I really see it. I can really feel it. And that's great. It's just, but it is long and slow, right? So I see my surgeon this coming Friday, and part of my conversation with him will be, so what does this really look like now, right? Like, I never expected to be in this position to begin with. So what is the timeline for this to be ready for us to have surgery? Now, originally we had talked about November, so I have a feeling that that's still what it's going to be, because this still has a long way to go for all of that skin to be really healed. There has been a conversation with my wound specialist about the possibility of looking at either doing collagen on my breasts or potentially stem cells. So those are conversations I want to have with my doctor, to really understand, like, what are those options? How do we help this be as good as it can be, right? Because again, I think now I'm looking at, skin grafting and nipple reconstruction and kind of all of these other things that I really wasn't anticipating before. So that'll be interesting. So stay tuned for more on that. Overall, from my surgery, I have really good range of motion. I mean, I do this kind of every time, but look at me, I'm straight up in the air without any issues. It's really great. Out to the side, I can go forward. Like, it's super exciting to be able to have the range of motion I did before my surgery is really, really great. So, and all of this I've done kind of physical therapy on my own because I'm in wound care. I haven't been able to go to physical therapy. You can either do one or the other. Long story, bullshit story because of insurance. But so I've had to really kind of do all of this on my own and help get myself through. So I'm really proud of me and YouTube videos and all the guidance that I've received in my support groups around how to really take care of myself in a way where I can help myself progress without hurting myself, and really, like, not get stuck waiting for physical therapy. So that's been really great. I can also start working with 1 pound weights. I've talked to my doctor about this. And over the next couple weeks, I can work with 1 pound weights and then go up to 3 pound weights, as long as I feel comfortable and the muscles are good and I'm not getting too sore. And we need to be really careful about shoulders because as you come out of this, because you've been so limited with range of motion and all of the things, your shoulders can be really weak. And I already have bad shoulders. So we'll take that really slow. But that's like super exciting because, again, it's kind of like another level of normalcy and kind of getting me back into the physical shape that I want to get into. Right. So that being said, I can walk still. I can't really do a whole lot else, because of this hole in my stomach. We've had starts and stops and starts and stops because we haven't wanted anything to really disrupt or pull that tissue apart as we're trying to get it to close. So I can walk. I had to pause for a couple weeks, and then, now I can pick back up again because we feel good about where it's at. So that's great. So I want to start picking up the pace there with walking, both on my treadmill inside and being outside. I am able to drive, which is great. I needed to use the mastectomy pillow for the first couple weeks of driving, but now I'm comfortable enough with my reaction and my range of motion that I don't necessarily need to use that when I drive. But I am able to get out and about, which is great, because that's the other thing is, I think, another level of normalcy when you've been stuck at home for, months, right? Having to depend on everybody else, being able to kind of get back out in the world has been really great. So that's been wonderful. I can do a little bit of yoga. I can do some upper body stretching. I can sit on the floor and do some lower body stretches. But I have to be careful, again, about how I stretch through the core of my body, right? Because, again, I'm super tight still from from the pull down, right? From the deep surgery. Now, there's a lot of that has gotten a lot better, but there's still parts of my stomach. I talked about this a couple of videos ago that are still really, really tight, right? So I still need to be gentle with that. And part of that, the reason why it's so tight is because I have these holes in my stomach and I haven't really been able to work that out yet. And so that's going to remain until this hole is really closed. And that's okay. I just try to keep the rest of my body as loose as it can be and start getting my body back into regular movement so that all of these parts kind of loosen up naturally and kind of organically on their own versus like really trying to push stretching in one direction. So I'm doing that. Sleep is sleep is back in this really weird place. I was so excited to get out of the recliner and get back into bed. And now I was sleeping really great in bed, but I can't sleep on my side. And being a natural side and stomach sleeper, It's really hard because I want to roll over on my side and I want to roll over on my stomach. While I have gotten more comfortable sleeping on my side, which it's weird, right? Because I can feel my boobs, but I can't, right? And then some spots are a little bit painful to sleep on, right? And that's just because of the surgery and everything else. But so I can tolerate kind of sleeping on my side, but what's happening now is like I want to roll over and lay on my stomach, and I can't lay on my stomach. I can't lay on my stomach for two reasons: because I have giant wounds on my breasts, and that's not fun, and because I have this hole in, hole in my stomach, which that's not fun either, right? So, and third part is because I don't have stretch in some parts of my stomach, when I roll over and lay on my stomach, which I have tried when I'm awake to see if I can actually do that, it is no bueno. Um, so I just can't go there yet. But so it has made sleeping a little bit disrupted as of late because I think my body, I'm just getting comfortable enough being in back in bed where I just want to roll over and I can't, right? So that wakes me up, and then I have to kind of get situated again so that I don't roll over and so that I'm comfortable on my back or my side. And so so my sleep is a little challenged as of late, but I'm hoping. I kind of talked to a couple people in my groups and got some strategies. So I'm hopefully gonna try those this week and or for the rest of this week and see how that goes. And hopefully I get some better sleep. So overall, things are really moving in the right direction, but it is the wound care situation is hard, right? Mentally, it is a challenge for me because this is not how I thought I was going to look, especially when it comes to my breast. Like size wise, I'm great, right? I wound up a little bit bigger. That makes me happy. But I can't really see the light at the end of the tunnel right now about how they're going to look overall. And again, I really do trust my surgeon, and I have this feeling that it's all going to be okay. But when you're looking at wounds every day, it's really hard. It's really hard to kind of think about what that's going to look like when it's done. So, and again, I think for me, because it was something that I didn't really think would happen, or I don't know, right? Like it just wasn't on my radar. It's kind of really thrown me for a loop. So, so yeah, but I'm here, and I do think it'll be okay in the end. It's just kind of the patience, and the space and grace to get there, right? So I think that's it for this 12-week update. And yeah, I just wanted to say hi and give you guys the details. And if there's any questions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out. Oh, see, you can see my bandages still. So yeah, I think that's it for now. Hope you have a great day.